Hold on. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me, Paul? Let me see. Yes, good. All right. Well, another Tuesday in Awakening Together. Now, what happens if someone leaves Awakening Together? It's awakening alone? No? All right. All right. Awakening together. Awakening alone. It could happen anyway because you're awake. Yeah. So you can awake together. You can wake alone. You can wake through a telephone book. You can wake through esoteric scripture. Yeah. I mean, it's not the hardest thing to do is to stay oblivious to the fact that you're awake. That's a lot of work. Yeah. Perhaps there is an easier way. Yeah. So I just had a nice group here. We had a nice time this weekend, and so this is my, yeah, and this is just how it came through me. I don't think, obviously, there's no definitive meaning of non-duality, but there is it's a lot more definitive concerning duality. So the way it came about with me is I realized that there was an activity, and then I saw it written in a number of books from people I admired, like Ramana Maharshi and stuff. But there's a mental activity that's very fast, that's claiming to be the one who's at the activity, yeah? And I used to think, okay, but there is certain activities that would be immune to that. And then I realized in my own experience, no, and my observation, that it doesn't matter if it's robes or, motorcycle jackets. It's the same. Whatever is happening, the mental state claims it to imply a narrative. Yeah. So, and the word happening is really captures the spirit of things, but that happening gets dissected, and the emphasis goes to the one and the what. Yeah. So the one that it happened to and what happened. So the feeling of living sort of sometimes it's yanked away, but usually it's a slow growing into something called a narrative, and we get an interpretation of life's happening to me. Yeah. So I'm sure many of us didn't grow up and of course there's no one to grow up, but just bear with me, when we grew up, I'm disqualified already. When we grow up, I wasn't in a violent situation or a lot of anxiety, and if there was, I wasn't really aware of it. So, life was happening, yeah? And then it slowly or quickly turned into life's happening to me. And then there's like running into rooms, doing this, doing that. And that's all there was, running into rooms. And then suddenly, and then from then on, everything that happened through Paul was accompanied by thought, yeah? And those thoughts were saying that Paul should or shouldn't have done that or whatever. But they were all echoing the assumption that I'm the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the seer, meaning the one who's aware, or let's say conscious. And it's always emphasizing this idea of being a noun by claiming the verbs, because a noun has nothing to stand on, really. It comes from the claiming of verbs, yeah? And the funny thing is, after a while of claiming doing, the doer is sort of presupposed before all the doing. So as soon as there's a doing and it's claimed, you feel like the doer. But not only that, the feeling is historical. You feel like you've been a doer. Yes? It's amazing. And it projects in a future, and you feel like you're gonna be the doer. Yeah? But what triggers it is doing. The doer doesn't trigger shit because there isn't one. It's the doing is claimed and it's used to do something. mostly unbeknownst to us. And so we get moved from the real starting line and we get to a manufactured starting line. Yeah? And the manufactured starting line, with a lot of reinforcement and repetition, lives in a seemingly, there is no other starting line. Yeah? The before is completely forgotten, and now the after is the before. Yeah? So now Paul is the doer of everything that happens through this body. Yeah? Or Paul is the seer of everything and the feeler. And it's incredibly economical, really, if you see it. It doesn't have to, you're not aware of the claiming of every feeling, but every feeling implies the one feeler, which is amazing, eh? I think that's amazing. If there wasn't something, but you wanted it to seem to appear, that would be the most efficient way. So if there really isn't a thinker, it would be great for a lot of thoughts, so the thoughts could be used to imply the thinker, yeah? So there's tons of thoughts, and they're used to imply the one thinker. Do you feel like there's 30 thinkers of the thoughts going through the head? No, you don't. There's a lazy assumption, or let's say an unknowing assumption, that the thoughts, this is the mental logic, the thoughts implies there's a thinker. There has to be. How could there be thoughts without a thinker? How could there be actions without an actor? See, but the logic is dumbfounded by anything that doesn't fit its logic. But it's quite easy to recognize there's an action with no actor. It is, because it's what's actually happening. It's not like you have to pour through esoteric text and learn a secret language. It's right in front of our eyes, yeah? You're before Paul, yeah? You're before Paul. Paul comes later, yeah? You're the ignition. You're where the match lights, you know? You're at that spark. The story of being the one who set the spark or is the spark comes later, yeah? It gets trotted out, and every time it triggers a sense of being the doer, you feel like a historical doer. It piles on with time, yeah? Time is how it gets an impact, really. It really lays a heavy mitt on you with time. It's like the fish arises, bites the bait. It feels like a fish as soon as it takes the bait, and then it feels like a historical fish, yeah? And then it has a future projection that it's going to be a fish. So basically, we do the rest of the work. It's amazing. There's just a suggestion, like in Zen, they have the idea of a finger pointing at the moon. In this case, there's not even a moon it's pointing at. It's just pointing at. We do the jump into the idea of being the noun, yeah? So if we grew into that habit, there can be a growing out of it. It can be immediate by seeing you were never in it, but let's say it may be slowly in time. It doesn't mean it's slow out of time, but it's slow in time, and therefore, it's like the straw that breaks the camel back, the 100 monkey phenomena. You hit a point where something, aha, yeah? So it's either way, it's gonna show you never left the place you wanted to arrive at. It is. It's just gonna tell you, not with words, you're just gonna feel it. It's always been this way. So therefore, that at that moment, you, instead of being the affirming factor of the story, you're the negating factor. You see that it's always been this way, that presence I feel I have to travel far to get to is here, now, yeah? Always is, always will be, always was. First of all, there isn't a will be and was, but just to cover all the bases, yeah? Yeah? This is, I feel, the message of non-duality. I think it's very disarming, and, they give you a pair of shoes, you put them on, see if they fit. If they fit, wear them, yeah? They will. You're not going to use them for a path. You're going to probably, relax near a fire, but they're shoes nonetheless. Slippers are shoes. Yeah. So You're disarmed, and then things that you hope, that you thought could only be produced, are readily available. Yeah, you don't have to produce peace of mind. It's readily available. You have to enjoy peace of mind, as we say in recovery. Yeah, the dilemma is the mental state has us living by a lot of requirements and conditions for us to, not even now, but maybe, just maybe, possibly in the future, you'll be able to enjoy peace of mind. But peace is of mind, not of the mental activity. There's no peace there, but mind, big mind is peace. Peace of mind, yeah? It's just what we're using to arrive there. It's like we always say here, you know. You hear that there's a great party, but as soon as you get there, it sucks. You can't get to the party and it being great. When you arrive, you make it what it is, which is it sucks, yeah? You're not in duality. You are the duality, yeah? This action figure, this programming is the duality. It's in here, and then it gets projected out. There isn't any real place that has a dualistic movement. We see an unreal place in a dualistic manner, yeah? And we wonder why, because as the light comes through the projector, it immediately hits two lenses, subject, object. Everything. It's all the same undifferentiated light, but when we're looking through that lens of self-centeredness, we see differentiation, yeah? We don't recognize the light. We see things, yeah? We see tons of things, yeah? And we see them in a way that the addict maybe has the swing of recovery, yeah? So you go one way and then another way. My old Tai Chi master used to tell me when I'd call up and bitch about how bad I was feeling, he would say, "Congratulations." And I'd go, "Why?" He says, "Well, you're going to feel good soon." And the same thing, if I called and I said, "Man, I'm on a winning streak," he says, "I'm sorry, because you're going to feel bad soon." That's how it goes. It's a dualistic swing. But where the axis, yeah? Where it's all resting on us, basically. So if you can see that which is the projection of duality, that's the essence of negation, really. You see it not from that activity, you see it from mind, big M, and the mind doesn't get shuffled through those two lenses. It sees the story that tells you you're already shuffled through the two lenses, yet hasn't moved one bit, yeah? So finally, you see what you're not, and in seeing the activity that implies what you're not, you get a sense of what you are. Now, maybe there's other ways it works for other people, but this is how the chips fell. This is how the dominoes went. So that's all I got to share. You know, mackerel may be great, but I'm a cod salesman, you know, COD. I sell a certain kind of fish, and that's it. Mackerel is great. All right, fantastic. But, yeah, when you're tired chasing mackerel, just come over and get a nice piece of cod. Well, you've been selling cod for so long. Why didn't you branch out? There's no point. If you don't see what we're speaking about here, I humbly, humbly believe you're going to be looking from it. You are. Yeah? You have to see the glove from the hand. You cannot try to see the hand from the glove. It doesn't work. You've got to see the glove from the hand. Yes? You can't see what you are from what you're not, because you are what you are looking as what you're not. That's why you can't see it. That's why you're super frustrated, because you want to be there to experience your own absence. That's impossible. Yeah. This is the message. Being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. Yeah, it is. The greatest mystery. Yeah. What's looking is what you're looking for. What? Yeah. The seeker and the sought? No, the seeker is the sought. That's what non-duality does. Non-duality does not support the seeker and the sought. It doesn't. It negates it. It says the seeker is the sought. So that's it. Now, you can keep living as the seeker and have an idea of the sort, but in a way, that's fine. But that's not non-duality. Non-duality is a negation of the seeker and the sought. There's not two things in non-duality. Yeah? It means no two, not two. So, I mean, there's tons of stuff we can do, and as the Course says, because of the purpose, everything will work eventually. Yeah? You will. It wasn't the meditation worked. It will finally work because mind allowed it to. Big M mind is what's dreaming. But it, like the Course says, you may take a lot of time and a lot of like fucking bad knees and sore cheeks, ass cheeks, If you're reading this book, or maybe if you're at this Zoom, this Zoom is has a purpose. Many. One of them is to save you time, really, because you can learn the hard way, which is keep on keeping on, and then finally learning the value of what a failed system can show you, which is it's failed, or you can hear about it and maybe let the shoes be put on and see if they fit. See if when you hear the statement, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha, you can't use mind to seek mind, you can't use light to seek light. Yeah? If you do, it's just going to go on for eons. Yeah? It's just, as Hoang Po said. If that lands, yeah, because usually when you hear it as Paul is using Buddhism to seek the Buddha. That makes a lot of sense to Paul. But what Hoang Po is saying, Paul is AKA the Buddha. So using the Buddha to seek the Buddha doesn't work. Yeah, using mind to seek mind doesn't work. Using light to seek light doesn't work. And the very implicit message is your mind, your light, your Buddha. Now, that's, if you don't agree with that, fine. But that's the message. Yeah. So, and a beautiful Hoang Po once again, whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. It's beautiful. Because if you hear that, that means the narrative in the head that I listen to, I hear it. I don't listen to it as much because it's golden oldies suck, really. It's a bad station. But let's say it's playing and you get this presentation. Hey, whatever can be perceived, this, that out there, cannot be perceiving. Now just put that next to narrative. The narrative is based exactly on the opposite. The narrative keeps on implying that what is perceiving is the perceived. I mean, you can't be more diametrically different than that. Yeah, I mean, it's just a completely different message. Yeah. So this message for me, I heard it. Felt like an unspoken yes. I had that sense. About after the 7th or 8th satsang, it felt like there was a knowledge before acquiring knowledge. Yeah, it felt like there was already a gold mine before seeking for a gold mine, and then it was like an unspoken yes, and it just carried me away, and it brought me to a lot of just seeing all the misunderstandings that this life was based on. It was incredible. And all the things that I had done to improve myself and stuff never brought light to those misunderstandings. In a lot of ways, they supported them. They reinforced the misunderstandings. And non-duality was completely different than everything else I heard. The Course was pretty cool too. But non-duality just didn't budge. It just said not to. It just said the seeker is the sought. What's looking is what you're looking for. Yeah. Surely, if you had the wisdom, none of this would be going on, like the Course in Miracles says. There's a firmness in faith in this something else that has been made to be ourselves. Yeah. And in that condition, there's an active denial of what we are. There must be. because you wouldn't be able to take yourself as this thing that's been made up or manufactured if you had a sense of what you were. So there's got to be a complete denial of what you are to be up the ass of what you're not. It's just, that's how it goes. Yeah. So we want to look at that. We don't want to keep talking to what you're not about what you are. It doesn't go anywhere, humbly. It just gets conceptualized, and then you get more burdened, where the stuff, you just look at meetings, satsangs. For a lot of us, we would have been better off if we never heard the word awakening. I swear to God. It's been a poison pill for so many mental states. And then enlightenment's even worse. Yeah. And if you want to have a real glimpse in the mental state, one of the definitions of enlightenment is cessation of all suffering. What does the mental state do with enlightenment? It produces suffering. People are flipping out. How the hell did this guy get enlightened? I've been to a lot more satsangs than him. Ba 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 ba. It just provokes so much more discomfort. Yeah. So, I have no opinion. Like someone here a couple weeks ago said, well, don't do any effort. No, I said, just maybe see the futility of effort. Yeah, effort has a lot of value. If you need to get a job, you may have to effort, but that kind of efforting doesn't work when you are that you like to effort yourself into. It doesn't work because you are what you're looking for. Yeah, that's why. It's not personal. Yeah, you can't, like, how I look for a store carrying a certain product, go on Google, whatever, doesn't work for what I am, because I am that. Yeah, I can't use it to look for it, obviously. Yeah, I can use it to look for pants, for a good coffee, for like some organic ice cream, and I could be successful. But I can't apply that same strategy or that same strategy of being applied to what I am. That was the great relief of non-duality. You're not going to become what you are. You're not going to reunite with what you are. You're not going to merge into what you are. You're that. Yeah? It's a done deal. Yeah. There you go. So, thanks. Open up if you like, yeah.
Go ahead, Inka.
Hi. I'm wondering how to connect this, and I shouldn't say that. The idea of I am perfect already with the idea or with the thought, is it a thought or that I could do better? Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's things I do in this world that I definitely could do better.
Well, this is the cognitive dissonance of the system.
Okay.
Has a great meaning of perfect, and then that seems to be, why would I be busy trying to get better if I'm already perfect? Yes, this is shallow cognitive dissonance.
Oh, so that's the ego speaking.
Well, find out yourself, but I'm definitely, you're not hearing it from the halls of whatever, Valhalla. It's not coming there. It's coming from the
okay.
Yeah,
so it's the same source as one's logic applied.
I don't like the word perfect either, anyway, because
what is that?
Yes, this could be perfect in its futility and failure. We have the mental logic and is not an observer of a failed system. It's part of a failed system.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You can't use a telescope that can't see the stars to look at it. Yeah, it just doesn't work. But sometimes the best way to learn that is to keep trying to work it. And then finally, after you stop blaming yourself and everything else, you realize, hey, this is a failed system. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
So, yeah. And again, the action figure may need a lot of work. That doesn't mean it's you. Are you the car when the mechanic comes over? Do I apologize that I'm not running well because, the mechanic showed up? I'm sorry, should have been running better. No, I'm not the car. Yeah? The car needs some work. Are you the car? No, you're not. No. Yeah, so this action figure sometimes has a lot of blind spots. Yeah, you may have to learn things to fit into, when in Rome, you got to do what like the Romans do. Yeah, you can't be a barbarian. It may not work. So, luckily, life usually brings you to what you need for the action figure to get undone sufficiently so that it works better. Yeah, yeah. I had a way of life recovery for 33 years because I was a very, very bad case of being broken. Yeah. So I lived in a community and I learned I could face life successfully without getting loaded and shit. And slowly but surely. But all the while, the mind wasn't contained by the vehicle. The mind
Right.
isn't.
Yeah.
If you roll up the windows, you don't catch the mind in the car. It doesn't. It's not of the car. It's not a passenger in the car.
Right.
Defined by
Right.
it's something. It's the context. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's everything. So yeah. So yeah. But here in this dreaming, there is can be a first things first. Like in this life, it was important for the action figure to get recovered from alcohol and drugs before it heard any highfalutin ideas like non-duality. They would have had a field day. I would have been pontificating while shooting cocaine about shit I had no idea of. Thank God I never heard of it until later. I'm seeing it happen to people now. Non-duality is so accessible, the idea, and yeah, it's not like something you skim. You just don't read one book and go to a meeting and then I know non-duality. It's not a skimming. It's not like an education. It's not like
Correct.
yeah. It's something else. It shuts the motor off. Yeah, it doesn't inspire the motor to continue. It shuts it off, and then you're free flight floating, and then a lot of the shit that you don't see becomes brought into stark contrast, and you can see the misunderstandings that are going down with the boat. You're not. The
But the
misunderstanding
boat is, yeah.
the boat. Yeah, they are of the boat. They act as if they're not, and they're gonna jump off at the last minute. They're not. They are of the boat. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So
That was helpful. Thank you. Very
yeah,
helpful.
Hey, Paul, I have a question.
all right.
You talked about effort doesn't work because you are what you are looking for. But at the same time, effort can help you. You just talked about shutting off the motor, right? Effort can help you get to a point where you can shut off the motor, right? So there's an effort. It can be useful to get rid of the garbage, drop the excess baggage, right? That's holding you back. It's not allowing you to see the truth of what you are. Yes, or no?
Well, the effort we're talking more about is the effort that comes after the my effort. Yeah. The effort that's being used to reinforce the one who's doing the effort. That's already has a use. It's used by the mental state to reinforce the story of being Paul. Yeah, how can they destroy it? Yeah. As it says, Ramana says it beautifully. He says, there's this presupposing of this non-existent thing being existing, and then wanting to get salvation for itself. And if this is the case, which he made an assumption, it's pretty much always the case, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? So effort has its value, definitely. When there's a my effort, before it, then that value is being used to reinforce something, which is what you're not. Yes? So maybe it's best to stop and let the air clear a little bit and see what's the next move. Yeah? Maybe you can recognize the emphasis isn't on the effort, it's on who the hell's doing it or not. Yeah? That's where the pointer really is. And here you just want to say inflammatory things quite a lot. Yeah, there's too much like brushing the mane of the spiritual lion. You want to fucking throw a rock at it occasionally. Seriously. You're going to get lulled to sleep, fuck. So I say whatever comes through me at any time. Of course, there's value in effort. Yeah? But if there's an idea that you think effort has a lot of value, that value is being used to reinforce the you. So, yeah, that's what I like to see. There's ways of bringing out the misunderstandings from the weeds. You can screw with people and then some shit falls out, Like the socialization of satsang you can break through that and just sort of, they get pissed or anything like that. That's good, I feel. Yeah. Yeah. So it got you feeling something, didn't it? There you go. Yeah. Of course, if effort is directed, it has great value. If effort is already been directed to reinforce the my, no matter what you think it's being used for, it's really being used to reinforce the my. Yeah, that's what it is. See, when you use a tool, you got to see if something else hasn't used it before you. Because your idea of cutting the lawn may be growing the lawn. I thought I was trying to get to heaven. It was used for something else. Yeah. When they say, what is a non-action? Isn't it? It doesn't mean no action. It means an action without an identification as the actor. Yeah. So the same thing with effort. Effort without the idea of it's my effort probably has a lot more value than the my effort, because the my effort has a point already. It's meant to reinforce the idea of you, the you that you're not. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter what comes after the my. If you look at it, look in English language, let's take a word money, simple, M-O-N-E-Y, 5 letters. We're not going to change any of the letters, but I'm going to change the meaning of it drastically. You put the word my in front of it. Now, I would wish all of you to have a lot of money, but I don't want you to have any of my money. Yeah? This is what happens. The my is an incredible, and it's not my, it's indicating something. There's an incredible amount of distribution of meaning at that point. Yeah? Yes? Yes. So whatever comes after it, spiritual practice, effort, problem, everything is changed by my spiritual practice, my effort, my problem. Yeah? Everything. Completely. Spiritual practice can be great, or it can be an incredible disservice. It can be. Some people are practicing to arrive at a state they're already in. So the practicing is a way of denying the fact that they're already there. Yeah? Now, is that serving them? The only way it could be serving them if they see it, and they see the failure of how the head works. Yeah? That has value. It does. But I've seen it happen a lot. People will tell me they're praying for something, and then we're sharing at a meeting, and then they say, wait a minute, you know, I'm praying to be relieved of the bondage of self, sort of like at a future date, and I'm in the relief of the bondage of self now. Exactly, you see? Something took over that prayer and was using it for its own agenda, not yours. Yeah? It was using you to put off a present tense condition as a future arrival. That's bondage of self. That's exactly a great example of it. Yes? Yeah. It wants you to dream of a future state and use it as a way of denying the possibility now. It's incredible, really. It's slavery, really. It's slavery. It's slavery. There's no other name you could put on it. Yeah? You're toiling away to arrive at a place you already are. Yeah? Have you seen, when you're seeing, and I'm not talking about the eye condition or the ear condition, what's seeing and hearing, you know, let's call it consciousness, awareness, onness, whatever. When you see that onness coming through, you know, sight, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, yes? This awareness. Does it demonstrate any thought or effort to be aware? That which is using the eyes to see, is that which is using the eyes to see, is it strained? Is it efforting to do that? I don't see that. I saw, on the worst day of my life, I was seeing just as clearly as the best day of my life. It doesn't seem to have any discrimination. It just is. It's on. Yeah, way before my opinions and biases and stuff like that. Way before it. Yeah, and it doesn't demonstrate any thought or effort. I don't see it, really. Yeah, I don't go to like seeing classes every morning from 9 to 10 where we, you know, put saint pictures up and we try to see better or hear better. No. Yeah, something's on, and then I go about the business at hand. But I did come up with one conclusion. I don't feel that there's any thought and effort in being what I am. I just don't see it. Why would you think thought and effort's going to bring you there? If that there you want to be brought to doesn't demonstrate any thought or effort. I just don't see it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Completely doesn't make sense. So, but go ahead. I don't care. You know, everything's going to show you something. It is. There's value everywhere. Like, I'm a real believer in the statement of the Course, which is, you and I are the dreaming of this dreaming. They use the word dream. I don't like the dreaming. I think it's more verbing. You and I are the dreaming of the dreaming, and we're going to dream ourselves out of the dreaming. Yeah, and as we do the dream, we'll get happier. It doesn't mean it's going to go on eternally. The dream's going to end sooner or later, but it'll be on an upswing as you go. What more do you want, really? Yeah. So everything that happens has value because it could be playing a role in dreaming oneself out of the dreaming. So yeah. So, and if where we are is where we hope to arrive to, then there's going to be the same statement is going to linger in both. When you arrive or you're already there, which is it's always been this way. Yeah. Like when the great old yogic mantra or chant or whatever of gone, gone, gone to the other shore upon arriving on having never left. Yes? Yeah. So Yeah, in time, gone, gone, gone to the other shore. Suddenly, you arrive at the other shore. Timelessness slaps you, and a realization on having never left. So, did you have to go to the other shore? On one level, absolutely not. Did you go to? Did you have to go to the other shore? Yes. That's how you're going to realize on having never left. Hallelujah. Yeah. Now, if I witness a number of people going to the other shore, maybe I can sort of get it without buying a ticket and getting, cold weather gear for the boat ride. I can just realize on having never left. Yeah. 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 All right, anyone else still? I hope you get the spirit of the talks, yes? That yeah, a spirit of something. I don't really have any linear, if this would take 12 pages to present it, I would have, gotten distracted on the second page. I don't have a long standing thing. The real idea of the speaking is a delivery of something. It may be on the words, but it's not in the words. Yeah, the words are just, they're like a carrier. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyone else? I see Glenda. Nice to see you, Glenda. Yes. Yeah.
Kathy has her hand up.
All right. Who's that?
Kathy.
All right.
Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody. I just was wanting to, I guess, revisit something that you've referenced on other occasions about the experience you had around the tricycle journal that you used to subscribe to, which I also used to read that one. And yeah, they did have some good stuff in there. But I guess I'm not looking necessarily, to follow the breakfast of champions. Like, what did you have for breakfast that day, Paul, when you came to this conclusion that that tricycle magazine wasn't going to lead you in the direction, like, in understanding, not that my awakening is going to, follow the same progression, but it sounds like, were there a series of things that brought you to this state of awareness, or just did it culminate, or could you just, maybe just share a little bit about that?
Well, again, the idea of being brought to it, and then when you arrive on having never left, it sort of negates the story that you were brought to it. But let's just say with the tricycle thing, I had a quality I didn't know I had, but I could learn from others. Yeah, and so when it was like an opinion piece on this in this Buddhist magazine, which is very nice. And the thing is, that magazine would help me on a path, but we're not talking about a path here. See? So this famous Western meditation teacher was sharing about a common phenomena he was having with his older students, and they were all getting in touch with him and saying, nothing's happened, yeah? So when I read that, and these people have been arduously practicing for 25, 30 years, I said, wow, I just pulled the emergency brake on the spiritual bus, and I said, I'm going to get off. Because if that's what they reported, nothing happened, which in one level is great, but at another level, I said, well, so I had the ability to learn from other people's journey, let's say. And I also have the ability to be convinced, yeah, that came about. I recognize that quality expressing in recovery from alcohol and drugs. I was convinced. I was sitting in a trailer with a guy I didn't know. I had just come out of a blackout of about 2 days. I didn't know him. I didn't know where I was. Like coming out of a blackout's like parachuting behind enemy lines. You drop in to a situation, maybe mid-sentence, and you have no idea. You're thinking the person must know I've been missing for 2 days, but they don't. They've been talking to a Paul the whole time. Yeah. But what happened was my head stopped, or the head stopped, and the screen went blank, and like a CNN news flash showed up. And I'm going to use profanity, so I'll change the word. But to really get the feeling of it, I have to use the New York vernacular, but I won't. So it was, I'm screwed, yeah, I'm screwed. And this seemed like news to me, but I had been screwed for quite a while. But there was a lot of denial going on, and that house of cards collapsed, and I was whacked. And then right underneath that, it was, and I'm not managerial quality, yeah. And at that point, I was convinced of those two facts in this life, really, where I had been in argument with those facts for years. And you don't win arguing with reality at the time, but yeah. So yes, I have the ability to convince. So I arrive at non-duality, the idea of non-duality. I hear it. First of all, it's quite novel, because instead of talking to me about a new meditation technique, they said, well, who's the meditator, you know? That was pretty good to finally get that direction. And then I read a book by Ramesh Balsekar, Who Cares? And that was triggering a lot of like the mental logic that used to, even though it was crazy, used to sort of change gears seamlessly, so to speak. I could hear it grinding when this information was coming in. It was like, what? It was the engine was shutting off. It was pausing. I couldn't get it into reverse. It was just like cooking the system, which was cool. And then I went to a couple of satsangs. I heard stuff, and I had big events, and stuff like that. And but as soon as the time kicked in, they got turned into something. Like an epiphany, I noticed in the experiences of epiphany, they usually ended when I had a thought like this: I'm having an epiphany. Yeah. So as soon as there was a claiming of the epiphany, the whole thing changed, and something that was alive and unnamed suddenly got named and was sort of dead. Yeah. Yeah. So these things happened, but I didn't. I needed a certain match and a certain click, and non-duality provided that. Yeah. And then just more and more happened, and some stuff that was not the road of happy destiny for the action figure. It was very hard because of certain energetic things where it threw me into a sense, the body into a sense, the head concerning the body, like mortal terror, like I was going to die for a long time. And it was, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't think about any of that stuff much because the awakeness is now, yeah. And when the awakeness is now, you don't really care if there was a then or a there or, it's just on. And in a way, it makes you very, very healthily dumb. Yeah, you're just, I'm just not really interested in knowing much anymore. Yeah. So if that helps, I feel like non-duality will bring out and bring into stark contrast misunderstandings. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of our lives are based on misunderstandings, extremely, almost like bizarro world misunderstandings. And a lot of systems actually comply with those misunderstandings, or they try to fit themselves around the misunderstandings. Non-duality was just beautiful for that. It just doesn't budge. Yeah, it's just not two, and there you go. Yeah, and then basically, if the not is the movement, and the two is what's seen, you better maybe start checking it out. What does dualism mean? Is it the subject-object experience I'm having right now, where the head sometimes thinks it's the thought about the body, or sometimes thinks it's the thinker as the subject? Yeah. And just because the two-ness of our experience is hidden by this singular image of a body, see, the singular image of the body gives us the sense that we're a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. Yet, really, we're in activity of cognitive dissonance a lot, yeah? So, subject-object. So let's use an example. The subject is thinking, man, a 3-week retreat may really help me blast off into a new transcendent period, yes? So you're thinking it and you sign up for it. But then when you get to the retreat, it becomes more of an objective experience, and your ass is fucking hurting, and your ass doesn't want to sit for 13 hours, yeah? And so now the most paramount thing in your day is your left cheek pulsing, and you're just looking for another pillow. And then you're getting super pissed at the people that just said screw it and they're sleeping on the side. Because you don't want to lose your spiritual face, so you're going to sit and do this and that. And it just goes on and on. Yeah? So the subject, oh yeah, it's going to be great for 3 weeks, but the object's not having a very good, not having a fun experience. It doesn't want its knees bent for that long. It really doesn't. Yeah. So this is what happens, and we have tons of evidence, but what dismisses it all is when we see ourselves in a mirror, we see ourselves as a singular, independent, long-lasting thing that doesn't look like other singular, independent, long-lasting things. So it gets a false oneness, hiding or disguising a two-ness, yeah? And the negation is not two. Yeah, we're not losing interest in the body. We're losing interest in the body as self. That's what we're losing. Yeah, we're losing interest in the body as us. We're not losing interest in the body. My body's probably doing the best it's ever been because that giant mental hen has finally got off it. Yeah, so I'm not seen as the center of the universe. I'm not seeing. It's just like. It's like a Toyota, it runs, turns, smells like a Toyota, and it's very reliable. But it's not a chariot of the gods. It's not going to it's not going to earn a Rolls-Royce grill. It's a Toyota, yes? It's just a Toyota. So, yeah. I don't know where I went with that, but there you go.
I think it's extremely helpful, Paul. We have 5 minutes left, FYI.
What's FYI?
For your information.
Oh, for your information. I learn something every day. FYI. All right, well, we can end it if there's no question. I'll just draw out.
I just asked one more question.
Yes,
Paul,
we're open.
Slip in. I'm just wondering, when you refer to misunderstandings, are you we all suffer from a lot of misunderstandings, but is that then also include false beliefs, or is it synonymous with false beliefs? What do you mean by misunderstanding?
Well, an understanding of how things work, where do things start and where do things end. Belief has a lot to do with it, but the real thing that has to do with it is directed faith, yeah? So if the faith, this force of, like gravity and stuff, I see faith as a force, sort of like whatever, dark matter or gravity. And that faith, if it's put into misunderstandings, is going to make a whole lot out of misunderstandings. Yeah. So let's say the misunderstanding is, it's very, let's see, I don't know. What can I pick one out? Well, the basic way we start, most people think they're a physical thing searching for a spiritual experience, yes? Mental, physical thing, yes? Yes? Is that a basic understanding the mental state has? I don't believe you have that misunderstanding. I believe the head says you have the misunderstanding. I think it's a misunderstanding of the head. It's not yours, first of all. So yes. So you believe you start here, right here, yes? So that would be a misunderstanding. Yeah.
Thank you
There's
for
faith
your
in that
explanation.
misunderstanding.
I appreciate that explanation of your view of misunderstanding.
Yeah. A misunderstanding is that self's going to get out of self. That's a misunderstanding. Yeah. So the misunderstanding is I'm going to use the problem to get out of the problem. That's the problem. Yeah. So these are similar typical misunderstandings. And then when you entertain the idea of non-duality, those misunderstandings are brought into stark contrast, where a lot of other stuff that you get involved with don't bring that stuff into stark contrast. They're almost sort of accepted. Yeah. When I think that's the primary point. Yeah. And to have an understanding of the mental state and its modus operandi, which is to claim what's happening, to imply a story. Yeah. And to know that it's a very fast process. And in a sense, if you're into processes, you're not going to beat that process. It takes only a few seconds for you to feel like the doer when there's doing occurring. Yeah. Maybe even less. So I don't see any process outdrawing that process. So the only way you're going to get out of that process is realize you're not in it, really. And that comes from what we are. So, yeah, these are misunderstandings. Yeah. The misunderstanding of we can arrive at where we already are. The misunderstanding when I had an event and I was crying and laughing about, I can never get back, I can never get back. The misunderstanding was I had never left, that's why. That's why. I thought I had left and I'd done something terrible to separate from God or whatever. That was the misunderstanding. The understanding was I never left. That's why I can never get back. I did not see that until I did. Yeah, that's a misunderstanding. Yeah,
Thank you.
and misunderstandings breed more misunderstanding, and false evidence appearing real will beget more false evidence. Yeah, and there you go. And then you're in a bizarro world, really. You're thinking you're going forward when you're in a way going backward. Like you've got the horse, you've got the cart in front of the horse. You don't, but that's how how we see the horse in front of the cart is that the cart is in front of the horse. That's a huge misunderstanding. Yeah, so. These things were never really brought into the light until non-duality. Yes. Yeah. So. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, or do you want to keep going? I don't mind. It's all right.
You can say goodbye if you want to.
I will. I'll say goodbye. Rhoda, thank you for your weekly notice, so I remember to come here. Yeah,
You
thank
really
you.
did, Paul.
That's very thoughtful of you. It is.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's helpful.
And very helpful. But I did remember today. but that's
Okay.
not guaranteed. Yeah. So, all right, we got Andy W. Nice to see you, Andy. We got AT Radio Computer, whoever that is. We got Jacqueline. Nice to see Jacqueline. Nice. All that wood looks great. Are you in a cabin or something?
I'm in a condo that's built out of logs. So
Oh wow!
it's it's
I
a small
thought you
place,
had.
but it's got the vaulted ceilings and everything.
I thought you had moved into a sauna.
No, this room's about that big, but no.
Yeah. All right. All right. We got. Who's this? I can't see. Steve. Steve from Germany. Nice to not see you. Can't see a picture. And we got Robin and Martha, Anne, Katie. I think that's all. They all. Oh, wait a minute. Here too. We got Eileen from New York, Long Island. Yes, nice to see you, Eileen. Yeah. John. John W. Nice to meet you, John. Connie Poole. Connie is always in the deep end. Beware of Connie Poole. Yeah.
Well, because of the picture behind me.
We got Glenda. I'm always happy to see Glenda. Yeah, nice too. And the same thing with Inca. Yeah. John, nice to meet you. George I don't see anyone, but I'll assume he's there. And I keep getting the wrong, but it's Saina. Yes? No, Saina? Saina. Wow. See, a week is like an eternity. Yeah, Saina. Thank you for all your service. Yeah, and having this thing run. All right. Hey, I'll see everyone next Tuesday, I think. Yes? See you, Glenda. See you, Inca, everyone. Nice to meet you guys.